Fences is a story about the parent Troy sometimes over-pushing his view on things onto his children and almost hindering their ability to go out there and succeed in the world. Corey, who's a phenomenal football player and is looking to go play in college, which is an extremely difficult thing to do, play a sport in college, and his dad prevents him from doing this. He prevents any shot of his son has of achieving his dream of playing college football. Troy does this because as a parent, he almost seems as kind of full of himself. He always talks about how he was so good at baseball, better than anyone else out there, better than Jackie Robinson, better than Hank Aaron now, that if he was in the majors right now, he'd be hitting tons of home runs. Just completely full of himself, yet not letting his children go out there and go succeed in the world. He's making them live the same life that he's lived, where he's struggling to find time with his family. He doesn't have a well-paying job. His marriage is going downhill. He has to have an affair with Agnetha, and it's just not a good life that he's living. And because of his selfishness, he's putting this pressure onto his son and kind of hindering his son's life. This happens to many kids. Many times, I'm sure parents have pushed their views, especially when they're children. Many parents make children go into the sports they played as 4, 5, 6-year-olds, and they have no decision, which isn't a bad thing, but it's just pushing their beliefs across when the children aren't really able to make that, and it affects their lives. So as a teenager, you'd hope that now your parents would let you be able to make some decisions. I mean, you've started to develop your way of life, and it's your time to take charge. So your parents should be staying back a little, letting you be able to make the choices you want, and good or bad, you have to live with the consequences. Much like Troy has to live with the consequences that happened when he was a child and grew up, Corey has been pushed to the point where he can't play football, and it's a choice that he didn't make, but his father made, and that's going to live with him for the rest of his life, which is kind of sad. Overall, I thought the book was an interesting book. I mean, it was kind of sad watching the deterioration, or the relationship of Troy and his wife deteriorate. I mean, and looking at his brother's mental health is always tough, and reading that, Gabe's health, I mean, it's a tough situation to read, and I'm sure many people have to live with having tough situations and having to go save their brother from tough situations. And I know it's a tough life for Troy, but the way he reacts to all of it isn't good. He doesn't set a good example for what his son should be. By cheating on his wife, by signing away his Gabe into a mental asylum, though he may not be able to read and it's an honest mistake, it's still just troubling watching all this happen. And it really makes you think about going out there and making decisions for yourself and not letting other people affect your way of life, and going out there, making choices, and living with the consequences.